It's time for Real Talk with Brian and Dan, the weekly talk radio show dedicated to discussing important real estate topics, plus insight into the local community. With a combined experience of over 50 years as local real estate brokers from the East Side Real Estate Team at Keller Williams Realty Bellevue. Here's your hosts, Brian Levitt and Dan Edwards.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW. It stopped raining, ladies and gentlemen. Yay. Yay. All right. So today is Wednesday, February 12th, 2020, and we're glad you're listening to us today. In addition to listening live on the radio, you're welcome to hear us live stream via YouTube. You can simply go to YouTube, type in 1150 KKNW. You'll find our YouTube channel where we're streaming live. If you'd like to listen to past episodes, you can listen to us anywhere podcasts are casted, both Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And finally, we have every video of each broadcast on our website on the eastsiderealestateteam.com or on our YouTube channel, the Eastside Real Estate Team. Brian, we got another great show today.
Yes, we do.
I got to say, I'm excited about our Real Talk segment. And I'm also excited to have our guests. We have Catherine Owens of Revel Communities and Mary Gleason of MaryGleason.Life. Before we get to our guests, let's get into the Real Talk. So this week we're going to kind of wing it, which normally we jump in there and we kind of throw some specific topics. But I think Brian and I are expert enough in this that we can kind of talk about it. We're talking about real estate investing,
right?
Passive income through real estate investing. So, Brian, you are a real estate broker, managing broker, and an investor.
Right.
How did you get started in real estate investing?
You know, one of the things I've learned over the years is that in fact, everybody that I've worked with will say the same thing. You make a living with your job, but you create wealth with real estate.
Yeah.
And you know, owning real estate, one of the things you'll hear us say all the time is, if you don't own your home, give us a call, because right now you are paying a mortgage. It's just not yours.
Someone else's.
So there's nothing like owning an income property and providing a really great housing option for people, which is satisfying in its own right, but having that renter pay our mortgage, and we're building equity. They are not.
Right.
And yeah.
Now, what about like investing for? Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
You turn on HGTV and you say, you know, fix it or flop it. I don't know what they're called because I don't watch HGTV. Sorry, full disclosure. But there's these shows about, you know, fixing up a home. Is that investing in real estate?
Well, it can be. It's a different approach. I mean, we talk about like we talk about fix and hold or fix and flip. And the idea of fix is you can go in and buy an undervalued property, do the repairs, do the updates, and have instant equity from having done that effort. Because you could buy something that's complete and it'd be a great hold. But by hold, we mean holding it as a rental property, an income property. Flipping is a different matter. That's
like a business.
That's a business,
right?
And you know, managing rentals is a business as well, but they're different objectives. There's three reasons to buy income property. You know, number one, in my opinion, is cash flow.
Okay.
Number two is appreciation. Number three is cash flow and appreciation.
A combination.
So my wife and I, we've always purchased for cash flow. And yet we've done so well with appreciation. But all of our business objectives concerning it were based on analyzing cash flow. And not just the direct income, but also there's some very serious tax benefits.
Yeah.
So looking at the big picture.
So we recently, about 2 weeks ago, we had Stephen Chater, and he's from Arizona, and he actually wrote the book Hold with Wendy and Jay Pap. Is that Papasan? No, it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's a co-author of this book and also an investor himself. And as you look at the idea of what is a investment, a lot of people confuse a business as an investment. And so Brian kind of clarified it there, is when you're talking about looking at investing in real estate, it has to be something that you run through a proper calculator, right? You need to find out cash flow, rate of return, and then the appreciation for me has always been the icing on the cake. Like if you don't invest in something that has positive cash flow that's throwing off a certain dollar amount every day, you could put that money in the stock market, right?
Right.
So you can put the money in the stock market, and most advisors will tell you you can probably get 8% return, maybe 10% return. You know, it depends on how much you manage it. But the one thing we know about the stock market is it's volatile. Right? I mean, somebody gets a flu and suddenly it tanks 400 points, right?
Right.
The other thing about the stock market and investing in the stock market is the one thing you cannot do is rent your securities, right? But
That's
with
right.
real estate, you can rent it, right?
Right.
So that cash flow it's kind of like a dividend stock, right?
Right.
Because every month it's throwing cash. So, Brian, if you were to talk to an investor today, what would you specifically recommend they be on the lookout?
Well, the first thing I do is I ask them what their expectations are. What do they want to accomplish?
What are their goals?
What are their goals?
Mhm.
And once I understand that, then I can make recommendations as to what their options are. And honestly, anybody can buy income real estate. Anybody can buy real estate. If you don't have the cash yourself, you can partner with people, and we can give information. Steve Chater has that book Hold.
Mhm.
It's an excellent resource for this on how to do that. But one of the things that Dan and I do is we run the analysis on the property to look at what the cash flows are. The
Yeah.
first thing we do is prepare a document called an APOD, an annual property operating data schedule. And
Right.
the APOD will tell you exactly what your expenses are going to be, what your income is going to be. And we do factor in appreciation, but we tend to be very, very conservative because nobody's got a crystal ball.
Right.
But the first thing we do, and then we want our investors to run that by their CPA.
Yep.
And we do all the research so they're ready to hand it to the CPA. But we'd like another third party that they trust to validate our findings on.
It's also good to get their financial advisor on board because everybody wants to diversify their portfolio, and in order to do that, you need to have balance. You need to have
Right.
liquidity. You need to have some stable investment. And honestly, if you're going to invest 10 to 20% into a investment property, it's not very liquid.
Yeah.
It's
No,
locked in there.
but here's something most people don't realize. Right now, Wall Street is buying
That's right.
residential income property.
Yeah.
Figure that one out. I mean, there are companies out there literally buying thousands of income properties, single family residential.
Yeah. So your success story, you have quite a few, but you've got two in Spokane?
Well, we like to buy around universities because they typically get premium rents. Yeah, and we have parents as co-signers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
We're guaranteed our rents.
Yeah.
And we typically have, really good renters, young people that take care of the places. That it's kind of fun, working with them, kind of teaching them how everything works. And that's been very, very good for Diane and I.
So last point is one of the biggest challenges to investing here in the Pacific Northwest is the price of the properties. It's very difficult to get a cash flow property without putting a large amount of money down. If you're putting a large amount of money down, the return on investment is lower. So a lot of investors in this area are just banking on appreciation. Well, we have partnerships through Keller Williams. We have an international network where we can actually help investors buy investment properties anywhere in the world. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be on a podcast for Cabo San Lucas. Hey, how cool would that be, right? To own your own Airbnb in Cabo San Lucas? That'd be pretty cool. So if any of the listeners are out there and they're thinking, I want to know more, you can get on our list for investment properties. Just email dan.edwards@kw.com. Just write investor in the thing and what you're looking for, what kind of cash flow you're looking for. And if you want to be educated, Brian and I will be doing some sit downs with folks to kind of go over the details. It's very exciting. I think as you look at the stock market, what goes up must come down. If you want to make an adjustment with where your diversification should be, Brian and I would love to talk to you.
And we have properties right now that pencil.
Yes.
So now is a great time. Yep.
Yeah. Some great ones. So give us a call. All right. Well, that concludes our Real Talk segment for the moment. And if you want to check out some more, just go to our website at theeastsiderealestateteam.com. Thanks for listening. Up next will be our lender for our Mortgage Moments segment. Stay tuned after the commercial break to hear more from Aram Madastovov. I can never say his name because
Madavosov.
Madavosov, thank you. An experienced loan officer with Movement Mortgage. Join us for Real Talk right after this break.
Did you know when you pay rent, you're actually paying someone else's mortgage? Are you tired of missing out on owning your own home? Fact. Homeowners on average have 40 times the financial net worth of renters. The Eastside Real Estate Team has been helping many first-time home buyers find and buy their first home. They specialize in customer service and put you first. They listen first to what you're looking for, and then they take the time to make sure their clients understand every aspect of the home buying process. If owning a home has been your dream, the Eastside Real Estate Team can help you. For a free, no-hassle consultation, call 425-200-4093 or find them online at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Are you ready to select a residential contractor for your remodel project or custom construction? Have you been presented with a contract to review and sign? Well, before you go any further and before you sign anything, contact Douglas Schwed at Access Law NW for an expert contract review and a contractor due diligence investigation. We highly recommend that before you sign any major home improvement, remodel, or custom construction contract, that you consult with a qualified real estate contract attorney. Mr. Schwed has developed a proprietary 10-step builder due diligence investigation algorithm, which fully and completely documents any contractor's operating and legal compliance history, including litigation checks, including civil and criminal background, bankruptcy filings, licensing compliance, insurance and bonding compliance, and other relevant business details. From that investigation, a written report is provided highlighting all areas of concern so the client can make a fully informed, unemotional business decision before the sign and before performance problems and disputes arise. Go to accesslawnw.com to contact us or to get more information. That's accesslawnw.com.
No other station delivers this much variety. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to the show. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. It's now time for our Mortgage Moment segment. And during this segment, we will talk about what chess and real estate have in common. Today, we're talking with Aram Madavosov, an experienced loan officer with Movement Mortgage. Welcome back to the show, Aram.
Thank you very much. Good to be back.
I'm intrigued about this topic.
Yeah, I am too.
All right.
So what do chess and real estate have in common?
First of all, it's competition.
Oh, there you go.
Buyers compete against buyers. So it's a game, right?
Yeah.
And a game involves that many components. It involves great realtors like you, involves lenders, involves inspectors, everybody else. And so buyers compete against buyers, and that's pretty much, you have to be several steps ahead of your competition to win the game.
Well, now how do you accomplish that?
Well, first is get full underwritten pre-approval through Movement Mortgage. Get pre-approved, know exactly what you need, and partner up with you guys so you can structure the offer intelligently, competitively, and strike when you're ready.
Oh, that's pretty good. Now, I'm just curious, which chess piece would the real estate agent be? Are they the horse or the bishop
Queen.
or the queen?
The strongest piece.
The queen.
The
All right.
yeah.
I'm liking that.
Oh, that's funny.
So the buyer is the king. Buyer needs to be protected at all time, you know.
Oh, that's good.
And so, but yeah, having strong pre-approval and especially underwritten, you as real estate agents appreciate that a lot. And being able to close quickly, move quickly, that would put buyer ahead of everybody else and makes offer stand out. And of course, not to ignore the fact that you guys can write offer and protect your buyer from making mistakes. So all of those components will definitely put buyer 3 to 5 steps ahead of competition.
I like that.
That's great.
And what role are you the bishop or the knight? What do you think?
I would say I could be a knight. Those are tricky ones. So
Tricky.
I have to make things work. So yeah, I'll be a knight.
Well, as a lender, the last one you want to be is the rook. So, I heard you have a chessboard set up there at our office, and you're totally kicking butt. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. And I'm looking forward to somebody come and finally beat me, so I can actually learn something, something new.
Yeah, I
would
can arrange that.
I would challenge you, but I'm sorry, I'm not good. I'm not good at
Dan,
chess.
if you're playing chess like you play ping pong, sorry.
Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, we really appreciate. I think this analogy is great. Is to stay ahead. The first step is to be several steps ahead. And to the listeners out there today, this market, it's no longer a comfortable market for buyers. You have got to be prepared. You have to have a skillful team. Aram is fantastic.
Yeah.
They're closing deals in 2 weeks. Give them a call. How do people get a hold of you, Aram?
They can always call me at 425-988-4123, and I will be ready to help.
Fantastic.
Thanks
for coming on, Aram.
Thank you. My pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Next up, after the break, we're going to have Catherine Owens with Revel Communities, who will be talking to us about common concerns and misconceptions related to senior living. So join us after the break with more Real Talk.
Not sure if now is the right time to sell? Worried you missed the market? The Eastside Real Estate Team specializes in helping homeowners maximize their equity when selling. With our proven premier listing service, our clients have sold their homes for more money in less time than the competition. We know you have many choices when working with a real estate agent, but with the Eastside Real Estate Team, you get a team of highly qualified, experienced agents. From staging to deciding if your property is market ready for top dollar. If you're considering selling, call the Eastside Real Estate Team at 425-200-4093 or check out our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Are you tired of business decisions that just don't turn out the way you envisioned? Bad hiring choices, plans that didn't lead where you hoped, or maybe getting involved with partnerships that were not as promised? Bad decisions cost you time and money. Mary Gleason, intuition coach, shows business executives the importance and value of bringing your intuition to work. Without it, it's like leaving half your brain in the car. Everyone's intuition shows up differently for them, so learning how that works for you is the first step. Sign up for a free discovery call at MaryGleason.Life and see how Mary can help you bring your intuition to work.
Feeling disorganized? Do you have trouble finding things in your home or feel overwhelmed when you open a drawer in the kitchen? Does your house add unnecessary stress to your already busy life? If the answer is yes to any of these questions, the professional organizers from Born to Organize would love to help. Born to Organize specializes in general home organizing, downsizing, home sale preparation, and move-in assistance. Unlike other organizing businesses, we also have a full-time licensed carpenter to assist with larger system installations and handyman projects. In as little as one visit, Born to Organize can help eliminate stress and anxiety in your life by utilizing an individualized approach with each client that includes decluttering and creation of simple systems within your home. Born to Organize serves Snohomish County, King County, and is available to travel throughout the United States on a per-project basis. Jamie Bourne and her team of organizers are simplification experts and love nothing more than making a house feel like a home. Please visit our website at BOURNE2ORGANIZE.com. You can also call us at 650-274-4308 or email Jamie at bourne2organize@gmail.com.
Bringing good vibes to the Puget Sound and the world. Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. Our first guest today is Catherine Owens, author of Be Your Own Hero, Senior Living Decisions Simplified. Catherine is a nationally recognized industry expert and has worked in a variety of roles in senior living, including leadership, staff training, sales and marketing, and corporate development. Along with her book, Catherine has been published and featured in national industry journals, is a regular guest on national and local radio shows, and speaks to audiences about understanding and navigating senior living decisions. Her extensive knowledge and in-depth experience of providing for seniors' needs has created successful outcomes for seniors and their families, helping them make choices that encapsulate the hopes and dreams aimed at living fully, rather than just making a change in location. As an author, Catherine has received local and national awards for her book, Be Your Own Hero, Senior Living Decisions Simplified, a book she wrote with the hope of addressing the misconceptions surrounding senior living and to create a movement of knowledgeable and independent seniors who research their options early. Catherine is a 2017 recipient of the Tribute to Women in Industry, or TWIN Award, which honors women who have excelled in their field and made significant contributions to the industries. We are looking forward to talking to you. And so you're here. Catherine, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you both for having me here today.
So, Catherine, as you look at, before we get into the whole senior living, we like to get to know you. So tell me a bit about your hobbies and interests when you're not helping change how seniors think about senior living.
Absolutely. Well, I am learning to golf, or as I would say, learning patience. But love golfing and spending time with my grandson. He kind of put a halt on all of my hobbies because now I just want to hang out with him.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I'd like to ask each guest to share with us a fond memory of the home you grew up in.
So although I don't live here locally now, I did grow up in the Puget Sound area. And I think one of the things I loved about my home growing up is I had 8 siblings.
Wow.
Or have 8 siblings. And it was always just a lot of energy. And we were one of those homes that everybody felt like it was home. So we always had friends that were hanging out, calling my parents mom and dad. It was just a very open and welcoming environment.
Where was this?
I actually grew up in Renton.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah. Fantastic.
Cool.
So what is, getting into the senior living topic, what's the number one misconception?
Dan, I would say the number one misconception is people think as we age that in order to maintain independence, we need to stay in our home. And really the reality is if you're in the right environment that really supports your needs, you're going to age successfully a lot better. Studies show that 70% of how we age is determined on the choices that we make. So making a choice to be in an environment that really supports your current needs really does allow people to maintain their independence a lot longer.
So what's the most common approach to senior living?
To not approach senior living.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's one of those topics that people don't want to talk about, that we avoid discussing. You know, we plan for retirement and we think about travel and time with our grandkids and all of these things, but we don't plan for what would we need if things were to change and we had needs. And so really the whole reason I wrote my book was to get people to be proactive and at least start having discussions whether or not they ever need services, because typically I see people that are making reactionary decisions. There's been an event, there's been a fall, there's been a diagnosis.
Well, I would say that most of the time people keep their heads in the sand, right? They're not really thinking.
Absolutely.
So what do people need to do to keep in mind when they start to kind of have that conversation about where or why we should choose a specific community?
You know, I would just start by having a conversation with the family. I tell people to have plan A in a perfect scenario. What does that look like if you guys should need to make a move to a senior living community, can no longer maintain your home? But then have plan B, so if something does happen, you kind of have a backup plan. I think life often happens in plan B, and because people wait till there's an emergency. So start having dialogue with the family. Let your kids know what's important to you. Together as a couple, maybe talk about what's important to you should you need to make this type of decision. And start researching options. Senior living really is an industry where you get what you pay for. And no community is apples to apples. We all provide similar things, but how we provide it, the quality, the flexibility, the amount, is really what gives people their day-to-day satisfaction.
What are things that people aren't prepared for when looking into senior living?
I think people just really aren't prepared for how overwhelming it can be, not understanding what differentiates a community, what's involved, the cost, the emotions that it evokes when people start having these discussions, whether it's the supporting family members or the seniors themselves. It really is an emotional decision process. And so allowing yourself really that opportunity to start having discussions and seeing how you feel about different things when it comes to making these types of decisions.
So I think about, as folks begin their estate planning, in fact, we're all mortal. Everybody, it all ends the same way according to everybody, right? So as I consider my kids, my kids are college age, right? So it's really not on my purview, right? Is there a specific time that it's just a good time to talk about it, or how do you breach it? I mean, to me, I feel like the earlier you have the conversation, the better, right? So when I go in to have my will, I'm kind of like already in mind, if I have A, B, and C, then I'd like to go to this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like even though I'm young, I would love to just, I told you before when we were in the green room, is like, no, what I'd really like to do is just put me on a plane down in the Caribbean or cruise, a never-ending cruise,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things, even just kind of, I hear adult children say all the time when they start helping their parents is, I really need to start planning things like long-term care insurance. The reality is 3 out of 4 of us are going to need some level of support. And your kids taking care of you is not a good backup plan.
Right.
I mean, they have the things that they're managing their lives. And I always call it kind of the sandwich generation with adult kids. they're trying to take care of parents, and they're also trying to take care of their kids and their own lives. So start having those conversations early, realizing that the industry is changing, options are changing. So keep checking in and seeing how things are changing. But sometimes if you don't know what you even want or what's important to you in a community, in a home, in that phase in your life, you just don't know where to start.
Can you give us a story of when it worked really well for people planning this? Or is it always, because we hear a lot of discussion about it. It's like, man, can't get mom to decide to do it. Can't get dad to decide to do it.
Absolutely.
Can you give me some success stories? How has it worked really smoothly?
Well, it doesn't always work really smoothly, but as far as success stories, we as a society are taught to age in place. And so we dig into our homes and we're thinking that, or we have to move to a community where we can just placehold because they have everything we may need down the road. Taking the approach of putting in place what you need to age well, again, keeping in mind that 70% of how we age is by the choices we make. So what the success I've seen is people, they say, when do I need to make a move? It's always before you need to make a move. But people that get those that environment in place where they're staying socially engaged, where they're having a reason to get dressed every day, they're moving. A lot of people think being in our home is independent, but they're sitting all day long. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So cognitively, mobility-wise. And so the success is really when I see people make that decision early before they need to, they actually maintain all of that independence that they're so afraid of losing.
So why did you write your book, Be Your Own Hero, Senior Living Decisions Simplified?
Well, what I realized, as we talked about earlier, it's a topic people don't want to talk about. They put their head in the sand and they wait until they are forced to talk about it. And they don't know where to look, what questions they should be asking, or even just what to expect as they're going through the process. So I really wanted to get people to start being proactive, have conversations, understand the services available before or whether or not they ever need those services.
So you work at Revel for the I keep saying it, Revel communities.
Revel communities, yes.
Let's talk about those because I had a tour of one about 3 weeks ago here in Issaquah, brand new one, just off I-90 in Issaquah, and it's a little bit of a different setup than your just senior living or assisted housing. Let's go into that for a little bit.
Absolutely, Dan. And so again, that's why it's important to look at different communities because we're all different. The thing I love about Revel communities is, again, the number one fear people have is losing that independence. So they provide the support of having like meals and housekeeping and social and peer-to-peer opportunities, but they do it in a way that allows people to have as much independence of choice as possible. So people use those amenities when and how they want. And you were joking about being put on a cruise ship out to sea.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people say it actually feels like you're on a cruise in port. But there's so many more opportunities. I see people's worlds open up. If they're no longer driving and they're in their house and they're dependent on their kids coming and taking them places and doing things, they have everything right outside their door. They've got fitness center, movie theater, multiple dining options. So there's opportunities to engage and be amongst peers and to continue to learn and grow. Again, it's about learning. It's about growing. It's about living. People will say, Mom's managing. Life isn't meant to be managed. It's meant to be lived. And so Revel takes the approach of how can we help people continue living with sense of purpose, growing, having opportunities to share who they are, what their talents are, but be safe and continue to age well.
And as I understand it, I'm sorry, Brian. As I understand it, you guys have other communities all around the United States, right?
We do. We're primarily on the West Coast, but we are growing. So the thing that's really neat, you talk about the cruise ship. We actually have a great travel program that a lot of our residents use where they can go spend a week free in any of our communities up to 4 times a year. So
there you go.
They have kids in other states. They have friends in other states. They want to snowbird, just different things. So again, what's important to you? How can we help you live your best life?
So you use the word independence, but how do you see control, the desire for control of their own lives playing into this? What's your experience?
Absolutely. Great question, because one of those fears people have is losing independence and control of their decisions. And I tell people to shift their thought process and take control and make those decisions when they can independently do so. And sometimes when people say, I'm afraid of losing my independence, they're afraid of losing their identity. They don't want to be seen as someone's job or just another resident. But I always say I'm a senior living expert, but maybe Joe, who I'm working with, he's an expert on Joe and what's important to Joe. And so really a good community is going to be taking the time to find out what's important to Joe and how can we give Joe the best quality of life possible.
Oh, that's great. So you have an upcoming speaking engagement.
Absolutely.
That's coming up on February 20th.
Yes, at Revel Issaquah, and I will be doing a presentation that discusses all of these misconceptions and social stigmas that are in my book, the best way to make decision processes, how to maintain your independence, and that's at 2 o'clock at Revel Issaquah on the 20th, and I will be doing a book signing and giving out free copies of my book.
Awesome. And do people need to RSVP for that, or?
They don't, but it would be preferred, and a number that people can call is 425-295-7693. Or they can go to our website, revelissaquah.com.
Okay.
That's great.
Awesome. Well, Catherine, thank you for coming on the show today. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun kind of being in my hometown.
Nice. Welcome back. All right. After the break, we are welcoming Mary Gleason of MaryGleason.Life, who will be talking to us about intuition coaching and how it can help you make better decisions at work and in life. Come on back after the break for more Real Talk.
Did you know when you pay rent, you're actually paying someone else's mortgage? Are you tired of missing out on owning your own home? Fact: homeowners on average have 40 times the financial net worth of renters. The Eastside Real Estate Team has been helping many first-time home buyers find and buy their first home. They specialize in customer service and put you first. They listen first to what you're looking for, and then they take the time to make sure their clients understand every aspect of the home buying process. If owning a home has been your dream, the Eastside Real Estate Team can help you. For a free, no-hassle consultation, call 425-200-4093 or find them online at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
So are you thinking about Thanksgiving and hosting your in-laws while staring at the crack in your dining room ceiling, the dirty, scuffed-up baseboards, and outdated accent color you painted 10 years ago? Armadillo Painting provides full-service painting services, allowing you to focus on what's important to you and not your home to-do list. Let them do the painting work. They take pride in taking the stress out of updating and maintaining your home with fresh paint. When working with their customers, they take the time to customize the estimate to the needs of each customer and only consider the project complete when they have confirmation from the customer is fully satisfied. Referrals are the foundation of what they do. To schedule an estimate with them, well, you can visit their website at armadillopainting.com and book online, or email them at office@armadillopainting.com, or even call their office at 425-641-5465. They look forward to speaking with you.
Are you tired of business decisions that just don't turn out the way you envisioned? Bad hiring choices, plans that didn't lead where you hoped? Or maybe getting involved with partnerships that were not as promised? Bad decisions cost you time and money. Mary Gleason, intuition coach, shows business executives the importance and value of bringing your intuition to work. Without it, it's like leaving half your brain in the car. Everyone's intuition shows up differently for them, so learning how that works for you is the first step. Sign up for a free discovery call at MaryGleason.Life and see how Mary can help you bring your intuition to work.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/1150KKNW.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm Brian.
No, I'm Brian. No, I'm just
Wait a
kidding.
minute.
I'm Dan.
Hey, time out. Yeah. Our next guest is Mary Gleason, who will be talking to us about how intuition coaching can help you make better decisions at work and elsewhere. Mary Gleason is a nonprofit consultant. What is it, nonprofit or not for profit? There's a big difference.
You can say them either way, but legally there's a hair difference.
Well, I know people that run, never mind. This is my shot at humor.
Yeah,
So
some nonprofits are even legal.
Yeah. Intuition coach, hypnotherapist, and psychic medium.
Mm-hmm.
The most satisfying work she can think of is how to show people how to fully embrace their intuition and value it as an equal partner when making decisions along with the hard data executives rely on. Mary will tell you that not everyone is psychic, but we all are intuitive. Mary has lived in the Puget Sound area since 1987 and has been a nonprofit executive for over 30 years. Welcome to the show, Mary.
Thank you so much.
So please tell us, what are some of your hobbies and interests?
Hobbies, I don't do hobbies, but I love to travel, and I enjoy a really good workout, and I'm writing a book, excuse me, and my favorite thing is a really good story well told.
There you go.
That's my favorite thing.
Where do you like to travel?
Just about anywhere.
Okay.
Not to China right now.
Not to China right now. That's on hold.
Yeah.
That's on hold. And I hope they get that figured out, though.
I
So
know.
It's kind of a bummer for them. So, Mary, we like to ask our guests to kind of go back memory lane and share with us a fond memory of the home you grew up in.
It absolutely has to be the front porch. We spent our summers out on that porch, and so did all the neighbors, and we would set up a small living room on that front porch, and we
funny.
would communicate down the street, up and down the porches.
Where was this at?
Rochester, New York.
Okay. Are these brownstones with
No,
front
they
porches?
were just small Sears Roebuck
Yeah,
homes that
that's
Really?
cool.
people
Wow.
crafted after the war and after World War I, and it was just wonderful.
Kids playing in the street till it gets dark.
Absolutely, and trees so big that they fell into canopy, so it really had to rain hard for the rain to
wow.
hit the street.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
funny.
Loved it.
So what can someone expect? Actually, I jumped the gun there. What is an intuition coach?
So, an intuition coach is somebody who can help you get in touch with your intuition. And you'll hear people talk from time to time about the head or the heart or, getting the chills or whatever, but they don't always listen to it and they don't always understand what that message is. They know they felt it, but they don't know how to interpret it. So, people will tell you, oh, you're an intuitive coach. And I'll say, well, yes, I'm intuitive, but I'm an intuition coach. This is about you.
Yeah.
So, tell us a story about when you were inspired to kind of put these coaching practices into work with executives.
One of the big things I work on is fundraising consulting with nonprofits.
Interesting.
And I have to work with the whole executive team. And I would hear from one CEO after another that they did not have time to get out and do what they needed to do in the community because they were chained to their desk. And after the umpteenth time of hearing that, I challenged one of those executives to say, what's on your desk that's more important? And there was a pattern that quickly formed, which is bad decisions, personnel issues, programs that didn't work, things that board members didn't understand that they had to keep putting out fires. It was not work that moved the agency forward. And so I started doing little exercises that said, okay, pick one. Let's just pick one. Hold that in your hand, close your eyes, and let's take a journey with that one thing. And this particular person picked a human resource issue with somebody, and I said, when did you first know you shouldn't hire that person? And after a few minutes of just sort of closing their eyes and regressing, they went, before I hired them.
Wow.
But
They knew.
they
Yeah.
had the perfect resume. They had perfect references. Everything was in line. I said, but your gut was telling you, keep looking. Why didn't you? And so that I've been doing this informally for a long time. I've decided it's a big enough issue to carve it out and offer it not just to nonprofits, but to anybody who needs to make better decisions that are going to move your business forward and not keep you stuck.
That's good.
That is. So what can someone expect when working with you?
So I've designed a program that goes over 3 in-person visits, or we can do this by video conference call. I have a lot of success with that. And in the first visit, we really spend a lot of time digging down to how does your intuition show up for you? Because we're all intuitive, but we don't all experience it in the same way. So what does it mean for you and under what circumstances? And then how do you start to interpret that information? And here's the biggie, how do you call on it and not just wait for it to happen? And then the next time we get together, we talk a lot about cultivating that intuition and coming up with a way that you automatically include it in your decision-making process. and how to bring that into interactions with other people, because there's just so much information there that when we get focused on business, we tend to ignore all the other messages that are coming. And then finally, we talk about how do you lead from that position? How do you demonstrate bringing your intuition to work and invite it from your staff to also include that and give you a gut check every now and then, or what they're really thinking or feeling about something?
Well, it seems that, I can go through hires and I can go through that. And it seems like sometimes when you slow down and you're intentional about your decision making, it allows that to come up to the surface. So I've been the type of person that can make quick decisions. I think that's an important attribute. But sometimes if you just take another second, kind of walk through it and kind of lean into that, well, how does this, what kind of sense am I getting here? Is this a positive sense or a negative sense? And I think that just that awareness, right? In anything, it's a skill that takes time to develop.
And you listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. We might get it, but we dismiss it or we rationalize it. And it's, when you don't bring your intuition to work, it's really like leaving half your brain in the car. Why would you do that?
Yeah. You should have this conversation with the city of Seattle. They've just enacted a new ordinance in terms of income property that a landlord must accept the first qualified applicant.
Yeah.
So as a landlord, there's times when I've had a feeling it's like, there's something that just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And I'm, just to be totally transparent, it's never an issue of any protected class, anything like that. It's just more, trusting your gut. Every time I've overruled it, it's been a mistake. Overruled my intuition. It's been a mistake.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So what is the most common misconception about intuition?
Well, there's two biggies. The first one is people believe they're not intuitive, or that it doesn't count in some way, or the second one is that it's very woo-woo and it'll get laughed at in a business setting. And yet, that's how every business starts: a vision, a knowing, an inkling, that sort of thing. It does not start with a spreadsheet. Believe it or not, no business started with a spreadsheet.
Well, you think about it, it's passion, right? Where does that come from? Like a passion or a love for something. Those are feelings, those are emotions, right? And yet we bring those into our business.
Right.
Why wouldn't you use something? I think it's the word I was going to use is mysterious, right? Is intuition.
Yeah, well, and it's people are afraid they're going to be dismissed or laughed at, and I have enough experience with that to tell them it could really happen, and stick to your guns.
Is it the sixth sense, or is that something different?
No, it's the sixth sense. So
Okay.
if you look at Myers-Briggs, all those personality inventories, they will tell you that there's two ways we learn dominantly: intuitively or sensor. It doesn't mean they're exclusive,
Right.
but we have our dominant ways of thinking. And the sensor uses the five senses first and foremost, and the intuitive uses their intuition.
So I think you use the term woo-woo, but where would you say the intuition comes from? What is the source? I think that's where people might have conflict.
Oh, wow. Do we
'cause we
have a
see our
couple of
eyes,
hours?
right?
Can we have a
But
couple
here's an
hours?
example is I'm a person of faith, and yet a lot of my Christian friends would say that they would deny the spiritual world, and that's an oxymoron.
And yet,
and
aren't
so
we
they
told
deny
to
Christian
engage?
mysticism.
Right.
You know?
Aren't we to
Yeah.
engage in prayer and meditation?
Exactly.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
And
It's
yet-
just stopping and listening. So prayer, in my 10-second definition here, prayer is talking to God.
Right.
Meditation is listening to God, and that's intuition. It's listening to your gut. It's listening to your angel, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that exists just for you, for your greatest good and highest purpose. It wants no quid pro quo, and it's free. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
And it's not a religion.
Yeah, it's the people that would be, I think, concerned about the source, and
It's God.
that's my thought as well. So how has intuition helped you in your own life?
I have many examples, but one that I think you'll appreciate was when my husband and I first came out here to the West Coast buying a house. We looked at a new development and where all the houses were new, and we found the one that we really liked, and the realtor said to us, That same floor plan's available down the street. Would you like to go check it out and see which lot you like better? So we said, of course, sure. And the closer we got to that house, the harder it was for me to breathe.
Oh,
that's a clue.
By the time we got to the front porch, I just felt like I had a weight on my head, and I just kept trying to protect my head so I wouldn't go in. And my husband said, "Oh, we have to see if we want to live here." And I don't want to live here. You go ahead. I'll be here. I'm not going to live here. And he asked me, "What is wrong with you?" Because I didn't really know what this was.
Right.
He sure as heck didn't. And I said, "This house isn't built right." And of course, he wanted to look at the blueprints. And I said, "It's not there. It's just not built right." And then you fast forward a few months later, we all bought houses and moved in together on that lovely street. And about 2 months later, the people who bought that house came home from work, and the master bath was in their family room below.
Whoa.
Oh, no.
Now, they weren't home, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But I was. And I
Yeah.
was sitting in my family room at
Right.
that time.
Wow.
So I made a really good decision that day.
Yep.
Yep. Trust it. That's awesome. Thank you for that story.
You're welcome.
So what's the number one question you're asked?
How do I know it's my intuition
Mhm.
and not just me talking? And people are ready for this really long, in-depth definition, and it's really easy. Ego wants to have a conversation with you. Your brain wants to have a conversation with you, and it wants to keep you safe and small. Don't try that. What will people think? What if you fail? Heavens to Betsy, what if you fail? And intuition is short and sweet and to the point, and always positive.
Oh,
So
interesting.
The conversation is, try it. You can do this. You're good enough. Even if you're walking down the street at night and you hear, run, right?
Yeah.
Short, positive, for your greatest good, run.
Yep.
So it's not hard once you realize you're in a discussion. It's no longer spirit. It's no longer God. It's no longer your intuition. It's now your ego trying to keep you safe and small.
I have a friend who says she never has inner monologues or dialogue.
Really?
Is she without a soul? No, I'm just joking.
Boring, maybe. Who knows?
She's
Not
like, do
only-
people actually do that? I don't do that. I was like,
That's okay.
yeah, I do all the time.
Yeah, self-talk.
That's right.
She says she doesn't have that. So, yeah. I told her she was soulless. I'm just
Oh,
joking.
no. Are there other services you offer?
There are. So in addition to working with nonprofits on fundraising and governance and strategic planning and doing a lot of facilitations, I also offer psychic mediumship, which is connecting with past loved ones or doing readings with people. I can tell them what their energy has been trying to tell them. And I'm a hypnotherapist, and I particularly love past life regressions.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Mary, we could keep going. This is a great
We could.
conversation.
Yeah, you hit on souls. We're going to need a couple hours.
Yeah, we
Couple
can.
hours.
That's
I
right.
like
That's right. Well, unfortunately, we're at the end, but I thank you very much. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
It's really easy. MaryGleason.Life. That's my website. It's my company. You can see me there. Anybody is welcome to schedule a free 30-minute discovery call. It takes you right to my calendar, and I'd love to talk with you some more if you have questions. And my email is Mary@MaryGleason.Life.
And that's GLEASON.
Correct.
All right.
Mary, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it.
Remember, all our segments of our show are available to watch on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about any of our guests, please subscribe. Join us after the break for some final thoughts and something fun to do.
Not sure if now is the right time to sell? Worried you missed the market? The Eastside Real Estate Team specializes in helping homeowners maximize their equity when selling. With our proven premier listing service, our clients have sold their homes for more money in less time than the competition. We know you have many choices when working with a real estate agent, but with the Eastside Real Estate Team, you get a team of highly qualified, experienced agents. From staging to deciding if your property is market ready for top dollar. If you're considering selling, call the Eastside Real Estate Team at 425 888-200-4093. Or check out our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Are you tired of business decisions that just don't turn out the way you envisioned? Bad hiring choices, plans that didn't lead where you hoped, or maybe getting involved with partnerships that were not as promised? Bad decisions cost you time and money. Mary Gleason, intuition coach, shows business executives the importance and value of bringing your intuition to work. Without it, it's like leaving half your brain in the car. Everyone's intuition shows up differently for them, so learning how that works for you is the first step. Sign up for a free discovery call at MaryGleason.Life and see how Mary can help you bring your intuition to work.
Giving local voices a chance to shine. Alternative Talk 1150.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk on 1150 KKNW. And let's get into our final thought of the day, Brian. So I had somebody send me a text message about some issues. They are a renter of a townhome and had some water damage to their townhome. What kind of recourse do they have? What do they need to do?
The first thing is they asked about that. The water damage was from the water heater in the unit upstairs, if I understand correctly.
Yep.
So really we have a landlord-tenant issue. Typically, the homeowners association, as a condo, they're going to get involved.
Right.
But the correct person to reach out to them is the property owner. Landlord-tenant law provides specific time frames for various repairs. And so
it sounds like they had to move out. So the landlord has to kind of compensate him and then get recourse
I'd look to
from the
landlord-tenant law, and that's available online. But in worst case, if they're not able to get satisfaction with that, they may want to connect with an attorney. And
I would also look at your renter's insurance. If you have renter's insurance, you could call them and they can go to bat for you.
Right.
They can bring out their attorney to sue the landlord or the neighbor or whatever.
You don't need to sue anybody. Just have a conversation.
You never know.
You never know.
A litigious society, you know.
So what's going on?
Well, we've got a murder mystery coming up. So if you're looking to shake, the Friday is Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, Brian.
Gee, thanks, Dan.
Be my Valentine.
You got it.
So, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, care for your loved ones this Friday. But if you're looking for something fun to do, we've got, I don't even know when it is. Okay, it looks like you'll have to Google it. Shake up your date night or party night or girls' night out with an interactive murder mystery Saturday. Okay, so the 15th, 6 p.m. Yes.
Is it okay to bring a psychic to a murder mystery?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't know.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
That would be kind of fun. So it's at the Heathman Hotel in Kirkland, the nation's largest interactive murder mystery dinner show, now playing. So if you're looking for something fun and new this weekend, join the Dinner Detective for a hilarious and interactive comedy dinner show. They take all the planning out of it, so you can just enjoy dinner and a show. Plus, my murder mysteries, they're not that fun. Anyways, that's
so you're gone for Valentine's Day. So what's the plan? How are you going to make up for that one?
I've got it all taken care of, Brian.
Okay, there you go.
Crossing my fingers. So the tickets include wildly entertaining evening of dining, comedy, mystery, and you'll tackle a hilarious, challenging crime while you feast on a fantastic dinner. But just beware. The culprit is hiding in plain sight somewhere in the room, and you may find yourself as the prime suspect before you know it. So that, again, is the Dinner Detective. You'll have to Google it. It's in Kirkland at the Heathman Hotel, 6 p.m.
Ooh, Heathman.
That would be fun. Fun date night.
So that concludes our show for the week. I especially want to thank our guests, Catherine and Mary, for taking the time to speak with us. It was a great show, Dan. Don't you think?
Yeah, I would say it's like our best one this week.
It is. It is. Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Before we go, I found this quote I'd like to share. Chase your dreams, but always know the road that will lead you home again.
Who said that?
I don't know.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Till next week.
Hayes in the barn.